This is a picture of the backup camera screen in my 2013 Hyundai Sonata, and the camera's gone fuzzy. I've got the camera out right now, but I will hopefully show you what I took to disassemble the thing, and we'll get started. Okay, this is the back of the Hyundai Sonata, and there's that pesky camera. And to get to that takes a little doing, some time and a little patience. So first thing I would do is go in here, and there's a little tab right here that you pry open. Doing this with a camera ought to be fun, but okay. Pry that open, and there's two Phillips screws up in there. I've got one out, and then there's the other one. So you take that out, and once that screw's out, just to be sure, to make it hard, Hyundai's got two extra keepers in there. Those little things. So just pull that off, and then the next order of business, keep that in a box so I don't lose it. There's 10 of these things that are wannabe Phillips screws, but you have to be real careful because they're plastic. And if you just very lightly unscrew them, like that one, I've got most of these out, it pops out, and it's a little spreader thing. Makes it real easy for them to install it at the factory, but you just stick them back in the hole and then push down on this, and it spreads out the spreaders, and that's what keeps this thing in. It's not really a screw, but it's a piece of plastic. So I've got two of those left in there. Let me get those out, and then I've got some helpers here in my driveway. Anyway, back to the car. Let me get this cover off the underside of the trunk. Okay, where's this last one? Right there. They're not really in there tight. As a matter of fact, you just once you get them loose and out a little, you can unscrew it with your fingers, and then the whole thing kind of falls down like that. Now there's some stops, rubber stops right here. They just unscrew. You can take them out if you want to, but you don't really need to. So the whole thing just kind of falls out. I'll put that aside. Okay, got the underside of the trunk cover out. There's a plug here. It's got a tab right here. Push and pull, and that comes out. And then these two plugs go to the lights. More little tabs. Push and pull, and one over here, push and pull, and I think that's all you do on the underside. So now we got to go over to here. Oh, nope, wrong. There's, got to get these lights off. There's a screw right here. Now I've already gotten all these loose, so this is a 10 millimeter. There's an 8 millimeter on the end and a 10 right here. So take a 10 millimeter socket or wrench and unscrew these. And then there's one on the inside underneath the trunk. There's 4 nuts underneath the trunk. And I don't know if this is going to be able to be seen, but there's a silver one and a black one. Yep, silver one and a black one. The black one is what holds on the tail light, and the silver one is what holds on the evil chrome strip on the outside. So I'm going to take both of those off, and then I'll show them to you on both sides. And then we've got to go over to the outside and start saying bad words. Okay, I got all those pesky nuts off, and there's 2 studs here and one on the underside where that black nut came off of. Once those are loose, these are a little bit of a bind, but you can just more or less sort of lift them off. And there's a tail light. So that's this side. And over to the other side. Push up here. Lift the other tail light off. And that's the other side. Now, there's the stud that went through to that silver nut that was on the bottom that we took off before. Now comes the arguing. There's little green tabs. There's one right there. I've got an excerpt that I'll splice in here maybe about now or in a little while that shows these little devils, and they're just clips. So the way to do this, I think I'm going to just shut the trunk, and you have to just kind of pull those clips out. And it's like, oh, did I just break something? No. Bingo, we're off. That's the hard part. It took me a couple of days to figure out how to do that I could do that without breaking anything. And by the way, that's the top of the little camera. So now there's a mounting strip. Get rid of this pesky chrome thing and open the trunk back up. Oh, it won't work because I unplugged it. So let me go around and open the trunk back up. This is the chrome piece off the back of the trunk. And it took me a long time to figure out how to get this off without breaking something. First is there's two screws that go through holes in the trunk and are held in by a nut. You get both of those off either side. And then there's these evil little green clips. And I tried, there's one on each end, and they actually clip on to a tab, and there's a hole in the tab, and the clip looks like this. And I tried a long time to get that clip off of that tab until I realized that by pulling on it carefully, they actually are made to pop out of the holes that they're in. Let me go get up there where one of the holes is and I'll show you. So that chrome strip comes off of this right here, and these are those holes. And these evil little clips fit into those holes, and they'll actually pop out of that hole like that. And they come out with the tab, and the way they're constructed, I don't know if the camera will make it happen or not. The way they're constructed, there's a clip in there, and you'd have to get up behind them and pry both of those sides out to get that out of that little clip that I showed you a while ago. But I was able to just pry them out, and I didn't break anything. And the problem is, this is the one on this end. As you can see, there's, I don't know, about 8 of them all the way across, and you just can't get to the ones that are in the middle here. So prying it out turned out to be the only real way to pull it off. I'll put grease on them when I put it back in there for the next time I have to get to this silly little camera. It'll be easier. Okay, trunk's open. Now we got to get this thing loose, and it's tricky because on the inside there's a little plastic tab. There's 2 of them. There's one on each side, on the back of that gray strip. And if you look, you can see it sticks through a hole, and then that tab on the bottom pops down, and that's what keeps it. It's a keeper, keeps it in place. So maybe I can get my hand up there and push this little keeper up and push that whole thing back. And then there's another one right here, which I don't know if you can see. But anyway, once those are out, I already got one of them out, now they're both out. So then the whole thing comes loose, and voila. Over here, there's a gasket looking thing, goes through a hole, and that white plug that we unplugged earlier, comes out through that hole, and now the whole thing is loose. And there's that pesky camera that we've struggled so much to get to. Now we're struggling. This end of this plug goes to the camera, and this end goes to the white plug over on that side. The trick is, tell you what, let me set this up so I can do this with two hands. Okay, so there's two tricks to this. One, I've got a marker on here to get this end loose. Of course, push and pull, push that down and pull this out. So now that's loose, and if you want to take the camera off, this is fun. This plug is sitting on a track down there, and it actually has to move toward the inside of the car. And there's a trick to this. Just take something like this and knock it loose like that. And now you can see that little track. It will not go toward the outside of the car. It has to go toward the inside of the car. And now you can take these two screws loose, and this bracket comes off. You can get the camera loose. Once the camera's loose and that bracket's loose, you can take these two smaller screws off, and the bracket comes off the camera, and that camera and this plug and this wire are replaceable. So that's how I got there from here.